I'm here in Medjugorje and what's your name?
My name is Deanna Zangenberg.
Where are you from, Diana?
I'm from Bozeman, Montana.
You have a German name, German ancestors?
My maiden is Sullivan. My husband's name it's Danish, Zangenberg.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And first time for you here in Medjugorje?
No, this is about, I want to say 16 or 17 times I've come.
16, 17,
Yeah.
17.
Yes.
Wow, why do you come back all the time?
Well, my first time was in 1988, and back then I wondered how in the world will people ever know about Medjugorje. Well, of course, that was before the internet and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that it would go on for 43 years. At the time, I had anticipated, once I understood what was happening, I anticipated that to happen in 3 or 4 years or 5 years, But it's amazing. She's been coming here for all this time. In '88 I had a conversion. Obviously conversion is a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's never complete, but when I came here I was in a state of mortal sin, and I didn't know it.
Well, can you tell people what is mortal sin? I think a lot of people don't even know anymore.
Well, mortal sin, it varies obviously, but breaking the commandments in a serious way.
Yeah. Like the Ten Commandments, check it out.
Yes, exactly. And so I went into confession with this priest, and he, pried out of me my sin, and I felt violated, and I was arguing with the priest in the confessional, and I didn't believe that I was in a state of mortal sin, and he said, well, if you're in mortal sin, you'll go to hell, and I just thought, I don't believe in hell, and so that evening, I had an encounter where a woman that was on our trip with us actually had a deliverance. So I roomed with her, and I was standing right next with her, and the next thing I know, this deliverance was happening. The Lord was obviously liberating her, but I had never seen anything like that in my life, and of course it frightened me to death. And I was trying to run away and leave, and the priest grabbed a hold of me and made me stay, and it was kind of interesting because I was forced to have to kind of watch that. And then I became aware that Satan was real, and of course if Satan's real, then hell must be real. So the priest in my confession said to me when we were arguing about what was sin and what was not, he said, well, Our Lady is here. Do you believe Our Lady's here? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, okay, well, when you leave here, I want you just to ask Our Lady who's correct in this situation. You and I are disagreeing. Ask her to just enlighten you about what is true. And so sure enough, in a couple of days, I knew that I was in a state of mortal sin. And so
what happened?
Having seen the woman and then having been aware of Satan and the reality of the evil one and all of that was just eye-opening. Yeah. And so I went back to the confession line, and I remember I was standing in the rain, and it was pouring rain, and there was people coming, busloads coming, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. Then I got to the front of the line, and there was no English. I'm like, oh no. So then I had to get another line and wait and wait and wait, and then I go into the confessional, and sure enough, here's the same priest. So
they have humor.
Yeah.
There, no?
Yeah, and so we of course had a little bit different confession, and that was the beginning of my conversion, which I have some regret that it's taken me so long to really live the message fully, because to be a faithful, devout Catholic is not easy, and so but nonetheless it's been a joy, and what Tracy said, her witness about the peace in here, and adoration is absolutely beautiful. I was here when Slavko was doing adoration.
Wow. And you experienced Father Slavko Barbaric.
Yes, and he was wonderful. I mean, he, a great teacher, and he took a lot of time with the young people. I was, 23 years old at the time, and somebody said, "Are you going to adoration tonight?" I didn't even know what adoration was. I was a born and raised Catholic, wasn't well formed, and so I went to adoration not knowing what that was, and he was kneeling there praying before the monstrance, and I thought, wow, he's acting as if Jesus is really here. And then the light bulb went off, and it's like, oh, actually he is here, that's him. And so, the reality of Jesus, his true presence. And if there's anything I would say about that is, Medjugorje is so sacramentally oriented. In other words, I think people get the wrong idea if they think it's, it's really about living our Catholic faith. So it's Eucharistic central, and the Mass is beautiful. We're blessed with people like Father Leon. He's an outstanding homilist.
Absolutely.
And you have Melinda playing violin on a level that's just takes you to the doorsteps of heaven. It's so beautiful. And so Mass is just an experience, And of course Jesus, like Our Lady said, of all places to be the Mass. And so, you know, I would say that's the highlights often for me as Mass.
Can you explain the beauty of the Catholic Mass? People don't understand it, it seems.
Well, it's truly Jesus. I mean, that's the most important point. I mean, our culture, the world culture, has lost sight of the fact that Jesus is truly in the Eucharist. And I think they said 70% of Catholics no longer believe in the real presence. Well, what a shame is that, because our Lord is coming every day in the Eucharist, and He is
again Calvary, again resurrection. That's what's happening during Mass.
Yes.
Again and again and again. He's waiting for us now.
Yes, and how blessed are we, that He is coming every day in this way. He said, I will stay with you till the end of the age, and this is where He is, of course, body, blood, soul, divinity. So I would say that's kind of, I was blessed also this last year. I was able to come with my husband and all my children. I have 5 kids, so all 5 kids came, and they loved it. They all want to come back, and it's just was a beautiful time for them as well.
It's the Spirit, no? Children sense that. They sense the Holy Spirit if it's authentic, joyful. No?
Yes.
You know it as a mother.
Yes.
When you are stressed, they are stressed. They react to you, no? You know it.
Yes,
I know through babysitting. And I have a lot of respect for mothers, because this is a tremendous job. I think only women.
Yes.
That's God designed you.
Yes.
Man, we are impatient, or no manner. And what is confession for you?
Well, I mean, people don't realize that is also such a grace and blessing. I mean, once you get into a habit of going to confession, it's like taking a soul bath. We're going to fall, we're going to fail in our fallen nature. And it is just it's a cleansing, and also you receive sanctifying grace to help you to move forward in your conversion process, which again is a lifetime. And it is the confession of the world. There are lines of people in every language, and Our Lady is confessing her children here, and so yeah.
But you can do that everywhere. Just pray for a good priest and he will appear. I'm
Yes.
convinced, no?
Yes.
Everywhere, wherever you are around the world listening now.
Yes.
Not only Medjugorje.
Yes, true.
And
true.
what is the effect for you after confession? How do you feel?
You're liberated, and you feel, there's a clarity of mind and a peace, and it's I don't know how to explain that, but that's just a true cleansing.
I mean, we believe in a supernatural religion.
Yes.
Yeah. And the rosary prayer for you, what does that mean?
Yes, just the meditation on Christ's life, and it brings us into contact with Him. And if we follow what Our Lady's asking, to say the rosary, morning, noon, and night, you're just in touch with the Lord all day,
And what would you tell people? I mean, you have that personal relationship. A lot of people look for that serenity, that peace that you have. How do you have that? That's the center of our faith. Be guided by the Holy Spirit in the divine will. How can you have that contact with God? How would you explain that?
Well, prayer is something you have to invest time into before you start to see the fruits of it, and so she's teaching us. So initially with the visionary, she started out small, the 7 Our Father, 7 Hail Marys, 7 Glory Bees, which then over time turned into the joyful mysteries, and then she added the sorrowful, and then the glorious. So she took them through a time. And I think anyone, you start out small, and then you invest more time in your day, and it becomes just a part of life,
Absolutely. It becomes a second skin or a second nature, you say, right?
Yes, yes.
And fasting, difficult for you?
Yes, fasting is difficult for me. I do struggle with that. In fact,
Me too.
But Our Lady asked the best fast is on bread and water, but she said that's the best fast. So if we want to please her and do what's best, we do bread and water. But I think she also said, at the very least, give up something, on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I think if you begin to do it, like the prayer, you get better and better, and pretty soon it's not difficult. And then you do have that experience of freedom and liberating yourself from, our fallen nature.
Yes, we all have it. You know it, I know it. And favorite Bible verse, you got one?
Oh goodness,
just from the heart, something that pops up?
When it's bright.
The Beatitudes, I would say,
Is there a phrase in it?
Blessed are the poor in spirit, some of the holiest people in this village are poor in spirit,
Yes.
Early
Just childlike. We should be not childish, childlike trust, no? That we trust. So you made the also experience when you surrender everything, God will take care of it.
Right.
And that it's a temptation, we try to figure it ourselves, but when we surrender it, like it's written in the Bible, be still, I am God, I fight for you. You experience that, and you surrender the situation, the challenge, the problem, the solution comes at that point.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she did choose this people because they were holy and good and faithful. And you walk down the street and they say Bog, which means God, and they've lived God. And they've been through a lot, and they're holy, good people, and they've been at the service of humanity coming here. And
it's amazing, no?
Yes.
Small village, 4,000 inhabitants.
Yes.
And they're taking all these people in. No, that's
it's amazing.
The miracle of our faith. No?
Yes. Yes.
And they're very patient.
Yes.
Because there's people streaming in here. You saw it last week. How many buses there are. No?
Yes. And you do have a concept of we are the universal church.
Yes. Why? Explain.
You're standing next to Chinese and people speaking Croatian and and eventually you recognize the words and you realize, yes, this is the one holy Catholic faith.
Apostolic, worldwide.
Yes. Yep.
And what would you tell people why to come one time here?
Well, it's a shame that it's taken so long for people. So many priests have waited and waited, and Father Leon said something to the effect of, the greater danger is to forego the grace. So because Our Lady is breaking through time and space and touching this place. And so you are in the company of Our Lady. People flooded to see Jesus, to be in his company, and it's the same kind of thing. Yeah. And she wants to bring us to her Son. She's, it's not about Our Lady. It's not a.
She's not a goddess. For our Protestant friends, somebody listening now, we come to the subject because they always say we worship her, but it's brainwashing. We have to say what it is, just not true.
Yeah,
we are giving reference.
She is simply teaching the Catholic faith. So, in other words, the message of Medjugorje is to live your Catholic faith to the full.
The rosary prayer.
Yep.
Confession, Mass, Bible reading, and fasting. Simple things, and she's repeating it over and over and over. And people say, "Why? We don't need her 43 years," but you were a baby, and your mother told you over and over. You know it. Your mother, no? Over and over.
Yes.
We children do the stupid things. No?
Yes.
And is there something else you would like to tell people?
It just, our world is in need of returning to God. I mean, she's calling us to return to God. I think on the first day she said, help me with this, she said something on that, the humanity has lost sight of God, or has,
We see it now.
Yes, and so, this is where she's just drawing us back to God, and I think once we do return to God, there will be peace.
In us and in the world, no?
Yeah.
Because outside, only reflection of all of us inside, what we are seeing around us.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
And, wow, what can I say? Thank you for the beautiful
well,
interview.
Thank you.
And maybe something more, like you're married?
Yes.
What is the secret of a good marriage for you?
To remain faithful through good and bad, to remain faithful to your vows.
But that's superhuman in a certain way, especially these days. How do you manage that?
Well, I think, God is in, like the Croatians, when they get married, they put their hands on the cross with Christ, and it's a triune union. That would be wonderful if Americans did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I suppose, remaining faithful and praying together, I suppose, is another very important element.
You do that with your husband together?
Yes.
You pray the rosary together?
Yes.
You see the changes, because they say a couple praying together, staying together.
Yes.
Or family praying together, staying together.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've been through a lot in my marriage, but we're at a time now where we've kind of been through the suffering, and now we are
enjoying the fruits.
Yes,
of
exactly.
the suffering.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
People don't see that anymore, no? I see it now. The suffering brings fruit, it expands the heart. If it's broken, somebody said, when it's broken, it can expand.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many people are apt to divorce when things get tough, and so, Yeah, staying in the marriage and fighting for it, and keeping your family together. That's, I think a lot of people stay sometimes to keep the family together, especially women do. And I think that's the right thing. On rare occasions it's not, but I would say for the most part.
Because you see the brokenness in the children afterwards. It's a
yes, yeah.
And wow, what would you say? Why are you Catholic? What is so beautiful to summarize?
By the grace of God, I'm Catholic. I thank my parents that I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
We were not formed well, but nonetheless we were baptized Catholic. So
yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
it is the one true faith, and we are so blessed, to be Catholic.
Fullness,
yes.
The sacraments, confession, again, like Holy Mass, true body and blood of Christ.
Yes.
The manna, heavenly manna, we have it. Like the Israelites had it. I saw it the last few days. We have it every day. The manna is there.
Yes.
And it's all for free. America, wake up. No?
Yes, absolutely.
You have like the confession is free. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for therapy. The priests are around the corner. Don't believe the media, and just come back to the Catholic faith and church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our Lady will bring everybody back one way or another.
Yes, and we will all smile like we do here in Medjugorje.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for that beautiful interview.
Thank you so much. Yeah.